We grow up believing in so many limitations that after a while our lives actually manifest those limitations. We hear ourselves saying things that we accept as truth, when in fact they are misbeliefs that have turned into our truths. Here are 5 of those myths or misbeliefs that permeate our culture. 1. I can't help the way I am. I've always been this way. If you find yourself believing that you must always be the way you've always been, you are arguing against growth. You must shed the illusion that you cannot help the way you are. You must create a knowing within you that you have the power to create whatever kind of person you want to become in all aspects of your humanity. 2. It's my nature. I inherited who I am, and it can't be changed. To enter the realm of real magic, you will have to suspend such thoughts and become a spiritual being first, a being who has no limitations in the inner domain where boundaries are non-existent. 3. My personality is controlled by my chemistry and metabolism. This is a lie we hear over and over again, and it is repeated in some of the most prestigious circles, making it even more difficult to overcome. While scientists may in fact have a point about body chemistry, what they too often fail to address is what kind of control we have over our own body. Our body chemistry is always being affected by how we choose to think. I want you to take a look at the enormous power that you have in your mind for containing those enzymes or retraining them to work for you rather than against you. Here's misbelief number 4. My family is responsible for my personality. These kinds of pronouncements are the very sort of inner thoughts that will keep you from ever allowing miraculous changes to take place in your personality. You must know within that you not only have a choice today, but you have always had a choice concerning how you react to the influences of your family. The choice is always yours. Know that your family and your role within your family influence you today to the extent that you believe that they do. You must become the producer, director, and actor in the unfolding story of your life. 5. I can't escape my culture and times. If you believe that the culture determines who you are and what kind of a person you will turn out to be, then that will be your reality. On the other hand, everyone who has ever made a difference in the world has been an innovator. An innovator looks within and allows their conscience and commitment to a purpose decide who they will become. If you're going to follow your bliss and make a difference in the world, you will soon learn that you cannot follow the herd. Once again, it boils down to personal responsibility and a willingness to consult your own spiritual awareness, that higher and visible self that flows through you. As you think, so shall you be. These are the big 5 misbeliefs that make up the big lie that was thrust upon you from your earliest moments of consciousness. You must begin a program to overcome these illusions. As you now know, this entire program of creating miracles revolves around one single premise, that you become in the physical world that which you create in your invisible world. Here are the 6 keys to making yourself into the person that you choose for the purpose of fulfilling your heroic mission here. 1 is your personality. Create a fantasy in your mind and imagine exactly how you would like to be. Would you like to be more assertive, more loving and gentle, less anxious and nervous? For now, just know that all of these inner imaginings can be translated into physical behavior, for that is precisely what you've been doing all along anyway. Secondly, your talent. Just for a moment, visualize the optimal talent that you would like to have. Your choice to excel in any given area will be based upon your own personal interests. Your talent, like everything else about you, is a function of the invisible force that flows through your body. It is not in your hands, your genes, or any part of your physical apparatus. It is in the force that flows through all of your being. When you begin to know rather than doubt your talent, you will discover the necessary physical abilities to carry out your purpose. Third is your intelligence. How smart would you like to be? Would it take a miracle for you to be smarter intellectually than you already are? You are as capable as you need to be to fulfill your purpose. Your intelligence is infinite. Almost 20 years ago, I redefined intelligence in your erroneous zones. A truer barometer of intelligence is an effective, happy life lived each day and each present moment of every day. You are a genius. You can improve your arithmetic and reading skills. You can learn anything that you put your mind to. You are a spiritual being first and foremost, and you cannot put a number on that. Fourth, your habits and customs. Would you like to be able to change some of the things that you find yourself doing repeatedly but which do not serve you any longer? Use your magical powers of inner persuasion to challenge everything about yourself. Your personality is made up of the hundreds of habitual ways that you conduct the daily physical affairs of your life. You can change around your daily humdrum habits and get yourself fully involved in life, regardless of your income level or circumstances. Circumstances do not make a man. They reveal him, as James Allen reminded us in As a Man Thinketh. Learning to think in non-habitual ways is the essence of overcoming personality traits that no longer serve you. Fifthly, you're aging. Imagine for yourself the ultimate miracle, a slowing down, or even an elimination of the aging process. The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self, your mind. You can absolutely refuse to let an old person into your body. If you can work your mind in a genuinely magical sense, you can strongly affect the aging process of the cells composed of indestructible DNA. It is in your mind where that invisible intelligence works its magic that you must examine your attitudes towards aging. Do you think old thoughts? You can begin to rethink how you feel about having your individual cells deteriorate. And if you use your mind in a new way to develop a new knowing within, perhaps you will be able to affect that process that you have come to think of as inescapable. Your emotional health is another area. Your emotions are physical manifestations of your thoughts. The joy you experience is located in your physical body, and the chemicals that are present when you experience elation can be identified and quantified. You manufacture those chemicals in your own quantum pharmacy that begins with your mind. When you begin to heal the inner you and consult that inner voice constantly, you literally begin to alter your immune system. Emotions show up in your body as physical manifestations of your thoughts. Keep this in mind as we head toward the path of real magic. What follows is a guide for shifting your mindset to experiencing a world where real magic is not only possible, but it's your birthright. With this shift, miracle making will become something you not only believe in, but that you manifest in your everyday life. Number 1, reserve your judgment and your disbelief. I encourage you to cultivate a new, self-declared openness to anything and everything being a possibility for you. Having an open mind and suspending your disbelief allows you to experience new vistas, while your closed mind keeps you trapped in your old ways of thinking and seeing. Real magic is only available to those who can imagine any and all possibilities, while letting the how it will happen take care of itself. 2, create a real magic zone in your mind. Make this a very private part of your life. Reserve a small piece of your consciousness exclusively for this. I've been able to manifest what constitutes miracles for myself by having this very private zone all to myself. Retreat there often to ask for the loving guidance, and the guidance will be there. Number 3, affirm yourself as a no-limit person. When you develop this real magic zone in your mind and trust that you can go there at will, begin to affirm to yourself that there are literally no limits to the powers that you possess. A great rule of thumb is this: if you can conceive of it in your mind, then it can be brought into the physical world. To become your own miracle worker, you'll have to change the thoughts that create your world of limits and boundaries. Why not include the presence of real magic in your life as well? Number 4, develop a new mindset toward the concept of intuition. You really must become comfortable with the idea that strong inner pleadings and sudden hunches are truly inner voices offering you guidance. Think of your intuitive self as God talking privately to you, just as you talk privately to God and call it prayer. I'm absolutely certain that you have numerous stories of times that an inner voice prompted you to behave in what seemed to be an irrational way and turned out instead to be life-saving. It happens to everyone. Most of us get these intuitive signals on a regular basis. Your intuition, that fuzzy inner voice that you hear so often, is a part of your life. It's there. It's real. Pay attention to it. Number 5, discover the secret that sits in the center and knows. Become familiar and comfortable with the notion that nothingness has something to offer you on your path to real magic. Consider, it's the space between the notes that makes the music. A note without space is one long sound. No nothingness, no music. Consider this: a room is not a room without silent, empty space within, surrounded by the shape of material form. No nothingness, no room. And so it is with you. You too are material form surrounding the invisible, silent emptiness that is also you. Without that nothingness inside, there can be no you. It is out of that secret in the center that you will be able to create miracles for yourself. Number 6. Learn through knowing and trusting rather than doubting and fearing. Much of your learning has likely involved questioning your ability to gain a particular skill. You were taught to doubt in a culture that stressed, you can't, it's wrong, you don't have the right background or the right credentials or the training or the experience. Out of doubt came a fear of your greatness, a fear of disapproval, a fear of failure or intimacy, and even success. If you want to become acquainted with real magic, fear and doubt must be replaced with trust and a strong reliance on internal knowing. Keep in mind as you shift to this new consciousness that behind fear is powerlessness. That which you fear you are fighting, and fighting always weakens you. Behind trust is empowerment and love. It is your choice always, and the choice begins in that amorphous inner world of the mind. Number 7. Affirm that your intention creates your reality. Memorize and continually remind yourself, my intention creates my reality. Intention is the energy of your soul coming into contact with your physical reality. What you see around you, who you associate with, how you function daily, and virtually everything about the physical you is a result of your intentions or how your thoughts became energized into action. Creating miracles in your life comes from your intention to do so. Not your wish, not your desire, not your goal, your intention. Then and only then, you'll begin to turn that same potential into your reality in the material world. Number 8. Experience surrender and satori. Surrendering is the equivalent of putting inspiration into your life. When you are inspired, you feel purposeful. When you trust in the invisible intelligence of the universe, you feel guided. It can happen in a moment, and it often occurs just that quickly. In Zen, they call this process satori, which translates roughly to instant awakening. This feeling of satori is a result of an inner decision to be at harmony with yourself and your physical world. It's really a decision to surrender. Number 9. Learn to act as if the life you visualize is already here. Act as if that which you perceive in your mind is already here in the physical world. You create your thoughts create your intentions create your reality. Consequently, you must begin to ignore your own doubt about the importance of your inner world and start acting as if the images you desire are already your reality. If you want to be confident but don't normally act that way, today, just this once, act in the physical world the way that you believe a confident person would. This is how miracle-minded people really act in their lives. Try it. Number 10. Live according to your spiritual self first and your physical self second. In developing your mindset for real magic, you must begin the process of living primarily according to your spiritual self. Miracles will only occur if the choices you are making are in concert with your spiritual self. Your first responsibility is to your spiritual side. Consult your mind before acting, and therefore become authentic to yourself. It is nothing more than an internal shift. There is no need to rid yourself of physical habits nor pretend that your physical longings don't exist. Instead, what you do is you rearrange your priorities, making first contact with your soul, paying attention to it first, and allowing your behaviors in the physical world to flow from those new thoughts. Look within and listen, and your priorities will be clearly seen and heard by your physical self.
This is one of my most favorite quotes from The Power of Awareness. That which you feel yourself to be, you are. And you are given that which you are. So assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your wish. And your wish must be realized. So live in the feeling of being the one you want to be, and that you shall be. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression. And unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, it must be expressed. Your feelings are different from your thoughts. Your feelings are what you experience in your body. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. I am healthy says I feel healthy, and I feel healthy. I feel great. I don't determine if I am well on the basis of what it says on a piece of paper or on the basis of what somebody else out there tells me. I live my life feeling within my body that I am strong, I am capable, I am able. And that is not just something that I say. It's not just an affirmation. An affirmation is an intellectual exercise. This is a spiritual knowing within that I am well, I am content, I am prosperous. But the words that Neville used there are the subconscious. Every feeling that you have makes a subconscious impression upon your body and upon your awareness. Now, you need to understand the subconscious mind of yours. Your subconscious mind rules your life. 96 to 97% of everything that you do is done as a result of your subconscious mind. And when your subconscious mind gets programmed, it goes ahead and responds to whatever it is your conscious mind has placed into it. I was 18 years old. I was in the United States Navy for 4 years. And they sent me to a school in Bainbridge, Maryland, to become a radioman and a cryptographer. And we spent an hour a day, every day, for the first 3 or 4 weeks we were there, on a typewriter, learning Morse code. Okay? And my conscious mind had to program my subconscious mind. Now, this subconscious mind of yours is operating all the time. You're sitting here watching a television show. You got up, you picked up your remote control, you turned the channel on, you got dressed, you ate lunch, you went to the bathroom, you go to work, you get into your car, you drive to work, you don't think about what I'm going to do. Everything that is going on in your life, everybody in here in this room, you got here through your subconscious mind. You didn't have to think about every single thing that you were doing, but there was a time when you did in order to learn that. This habitual subconscious mind of yours rules your life. So I'm 18 years old, I'm taking Morse code. Here's the alphabet, a little bit of it anyway. Da da did it, da da did, da da did da did, da da did it, da 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 did, da 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 did, da 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 did. That's A through P. Check it out. That's 53 years ago. And my subconscious mind is still keeping track of the da 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 da. You're doing the same thing, only you don't use Morse code, but you've programmed your subconscious mind with did-it-it, da-da-dit, I can't do that, did-it-it, da-da-dat, I'm not very attractive, did-it-it, da-da-dat, I'm overweight, did-it-it, da-da-da, da-did-it-da, I can't make things happen, and it's did-it-it, da-da-dit, da-da-da, it's still there, 53 years later, and you go through your life with this subconscious programming with an awareness that you are not in charge. You're not able to extend or transcend this way of thinking. This subconscious mind of yours is most impacted by your feelings. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. Write it down. Stick it on the wall next to your bed. If you came into where I sleep, you would see that. I look at that all the time. I want to practice putting into my subconscious mind the assumption of the feeling of what it is that I would like to attract into my life as if it already existed, and to feel it, not just to think it, but to feel it. Neville's law of assumption says this: if this assumption about what you would like to become is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is absolutely inevitable. You must first assume the feeling of a wish fulfilled in all aspects of your life. So you have to say to yourself, what does it feel like to be prosperous? What does it feel like to be content? What does it feel like to be well?
The most important thing that you will gain from cultivating unconditional love will be freedom from hate and violence. When these thoughts are removed, you discover the presence of joy and peace. This is an automatic reaction to unconditional love because you are in harmony with the creative source. The ego identifies you primarily as a physical body, separate from God, and in need of constant stroking to massage your self-importance. When you simply say this is an illusion and it doesn't really exist, those ideas are replaced with unconditional love, and the joy you experience is really the denial of the false and an affirmation of the truth of your being. You are absolutely free when you are not consumed with your self-importance. You are free when you no longer need to be stroked, coddled, and approved of by everyone you meet. There is a great sense of joy in feeling free. Think of times when you have felt the freest in your life, when the pressures to perform are off, when you are walking in nature, when you are in solitude and communing with God. Joy, freedom, and unconditional love are inseparable. They flow from the experience of each other. To be joyful is to hold on to nothing and to have no restrictions. This is also the feeling of freedom, and it is a result of embracing the unconditional love of the divine energy that is the center of your being. This is not to say that one ought not to enjoy a massage, a delicious meal, lovemaking, and all of the pleasures of the body, but it is the mind that is processing and allowing you to experience the pleasure. It is the mind that makes it real. Your purpose is to align your mind with the unconditional love that is the divine source of all material things, including your body. With that alignment comes joy and power. When one drop of water separates from the ocean, it becomes a speck that is essentially powerless and weak. But when it aligns with its source, the ocean itself, it is powerful beyond what is possible as an individual drop of ocean. And so it is with you. It's a difficult thing for our egos to contemplate this concept of oneness. Unconditional love and becoming a co-creator in your life is possible when you know that God is not separate from you. You and God are one and the same. In the New Testament, Jesus says to the multitudes, "I have said, ye are gods." And later, "When a man believes in me, he does not believe in me only, but in the one who sent me. When he looks at me, he sees the one who sent me." One of the great meditation exercises that I learned many years ago involves imagining lifting yourself out of your body and floating into space so far that you are actually observing the entire planet. If you do this, try to imagine what the Earth is like without you on it. It is a very difficult task for your ego to even contemplate the world without you on it. Next, begin to observe the planet without any judgment, refusing to label anything good or bad, right or wrong. Simply instruct yourself to notice, allow, and send unconditional love. The process of being a detached observer occurs in the silence of your contemplations or meditations. Begin by seeking out time to be quiet and enter this inner place of love. It is in that silence that you will come to truly know the divine energy of unconditional love. Remember to keep uppermost in mind that love transforms. Unconditional love heals the body and the mind. And then also remember that the polarity of love is fear. Fear is a current of energy that literally runs through your body and is produced when you feel cut off from the source of unconditional love. Every time you experience fear, ask yourself, what's going on that I have substituted fear for love in this moment? Also, begin to acquire a private, non-publicized, and regular habit of meditating. With every breath you take, feel yourself taking in unconditional love. With every exhalation, expel thoughts of fear. Then pick one day to practice this exercise with a partner of your choice. Make a decision to think, act, and radiate nothing but unconditional love for the entire 24-hour period, including your dreams. If this works for you for one day, see if you can extend it for another day or two. Also, try making a decision to turn over your most difficult challenges in the area of unconditional love to God. Simply turn them over with a request such as, I have been unable to bring love into my life in these areas, and I am asking for your divine guidance in accomplishing this. Also, in your silent moments of prayer, do not be afraid to ask for help. And then know the connection between manifesting your heart's desire and unconditional love. Without your connection to this love, you lose your connection to the creative process. Unconditional love is in all things you wish to attract as well as in you. Keep it honestly, and you keep your ability to know that you are a God. Lose it, and you lose your godliness. It is that simple. It is with unconditional love that you find your true connection to the divine energy that is in all things. The way to get to this place of inner peace and consequently to experience higher awareness is to shut down the internal frenzy. The Chinese sage Sengchan Tsen gave us the following piece of wisdom. Stop talking, stop thinking, and there is nothing you will not understand. Return to the root and you will find meaning. Look inward, and in a flash you will conquer the apparent and the void. He is counseling us to simply stop talking and stop thinking. This is the third key to the sense of peacefulness that is a part of the way of the sacred quest. I want to make it clear that peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the experience of the presence of God. As you learn to shut down your inner dialogue and become more peaceful, you will begin to know the presence of God in your life. That presence will be felt in both your body and your inner world. Beliefs are removed. Belief is replaced with knowing. At different times in my past, both alcohol and other substances were a part of my own life path. Through meditation, I was able to leave alcohol behind, and I have never touched it since. But with other substances, I believed I could use them when I chose to for an energizing effect beyond anything I had ever experienced. I was able to use them, enjoy increased energy, and leave them alone for long periods of time. But a time came when I knew I was making foolish and non-spiritual choices connected with seeking out these insidious substances. My personal challenge became to rid myself of these insidious habits. I tried reading my way out of it, but I went back. I tried acupuncture, discussions with experts, and herbal cures, but I went back. I was determined that I would no longer play around with any substance, but I went back. Then I had what I call a holy instant, which was for me a divine experience. At 4:05 a.m. on a January morning, I was meditating. In the still quiet of that meditation, the thought of never again using a substance became real. It was my first absolutely direct experience of God. My entire inner screen of awareness became a bright luminescence as I heard a voice say, "You've tried everything else. Why not try me?" I have never in my life known such peace and certainty that God was with me and around me. I felt overwhelmed by the bliss I experienced. I listened to that voice, felt the presence of God, and have not since experienced the slightest desire to go back to any substance. I have debated with myself about putting this very personal story on this tape. That is, my ego self debated with my higher self. But I knew my experience with chemical substances involved helping others to look within, instead of outside of themselves, for both the excitement and the peace their higher self has for them. If, in my telling this story, one person who experiments with any substance and knows that it is out of control decides to shut down the inner turmoil and seek the help of their loving presence, then it will have been worth it. You needn't have the challenge of getting off drugs to find value applying this third key to higher awareness. It works the same way for every experience you are ready to transcend. Getting to silence and then having God be your personal knowing presence. Getting to silence requires conscious effort on your part. When going within, use the metaphor of the pebble dropping through the various levels of your mind. While the pebble drops, be the witness. Observe compassionately all your chatter and thoughts as you descend to the unified field. When you notice your mind overly crowded with thoughts, practice not focusing on anything just for a few moments. Tell yourself, "My mind is full of the disturbance of chatter and thoughts. I'm going to try to spend 5 minutes without any thoughts bombarding me. I'll dismiss every thought just for a few moments." Use your breath as a means to keep your mind from chattering away ceaselessly. You can do this by focusing your compassionate witness on your breathing. Breathe in deeply, excluding any thoughts as you concentrate on the in-breath. Then exhale slowly and fully with the same concentration. When thoughts appear, as they will, know that they are signaling you to return to mindfulness of your breathing in and out. Your heartbeat can also be used as a focal point for the witness. Return to the steady, rhythmic beat of your heart when you notice thoughts intruding. When you find your thoughts just below the surface in the analyzing level, think of a rose. As you replace the analyzing with the beauty of a rose, you might want to recall this verse by the poet Rabindranath Tagore. Do not carry a rose to our beloved, because in it is already embodied a message which, unlike our language of words, cannot be analyzed. That is, remember that the habit of analyzing or picking things apart in a judging fashion keeps you from knowing the truth that is at the center of your being. The rose needs no analyzing, as the poet reminds us. It simply is. The same is true of you. At the synthesizing level, when you are feeling the beauty and unity of life, you may discover that you are entering thoughts of pleasure about enjoying this spiritual space. Let go of those thoughts too. The ego enjoys convincing you that you are better than others because you are more spiritual or have deeper understanding. It swims through your consciousness with thoughts like those. When it does, gently send it elsewhere for this time of meditation or prayer.
Sell your cleverness and purchase bewilderment. Be in a state of bewilderment. That's what I mean by being spiritual. One of the ways to test whether you're on the path that I'm speaking about, the path of being into a spiritual being, having a human experience rather than the other way around, is to detect in yourself how much of my energy and my time do I spend being in a state of cheerfulness. How cheerful am I? Or how morose am I? How down am I? How, when I'm coming home to my family and to those that I love, how am I anticipating what it's going to be like when I go into the house? Am I down more? Am I unhappy more? Am I looking at the pessimistic side of life? Am I always feeling that something might be wrong? Am I putting my attention on what I don't want? Because if your thoughts are on what you don't want, and what you think about is what expands, what you don't want is what you'll continue to see showing up in your life. You'll keep purchasing it. Another element of what we call spiritual in these three words in this program is the sense or the extent to which you feel connected to other people. You see, the ego is the part of us that believes that we're separate from each other. I'm separate from you, you're separate from me. You have a different body than I do. I'm separate from what I would like to attract into my life, and I am separate from God. When you move into a spiritual approach to life, you begin to see yourself as connected to everyone and everything. And competition is replaced by something called cooperation. And when you see another human being in pain or struggling, you know that a part of you is in pain and struggling. And you begin to reach out rather than looking within and saying, how does this affect just me? It's almost as if you have to make a shift. And there's a wonderful story, and I'd like to share this story with you. It's a story, this is a story that took place at the Special Olympics in Seattle. And it's a true story. And when I read it, it really grabbed me. And I thought, when I do this program, I would like to share this with the rest of the world. A few years ago, at the Seattle Special Olympics, 9 contestants, all physically or mentally disabled, assembled at the starting line for the 100-yard dash. At the gun, they all started out, not exactly in a dash, but with a relish to run the race, to finish, and to win. All that is except one little boy who stumbled on the asphalt and tumbled over a couple of times, and he began to cry. The other 8 heard the little boy crying. They slowed down and looked back. Then they all turned around and went back, and every single one of them. And one little girl with Down syndrome bent down and kissed him and said, "This will make it better." Then all 9 linked arms and walked together to the finish line. Everyone in the stadium stood, and the cheering went on for several minutes. Isn't that a beautiful story? It's the kind of thing that I refer to when I use this word spiritual. A sense of an awareness that it isn't about being better than somebody else. I think true nobility is not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. And I know this about myself, that if any one of you watching this show, or any of you here in this audience were giving this talk, I could be sitting in that audience, and I would have just as much to learn from what you had to say to me as you have to learn from what I may be saying to you. The thing that I know for certain today is that I'm just better than I used to be. As a man, as a father, as a writer, as a speaker, I know that I'm better than I used to be. And I try to make that something that I do each and every day. Just a little bit better than I used to be. To me, that's what I mean when I use the concept of spirituality.
There's nothing natural about living a life filled with stress and anxiety, having feelings of despair and depression, and needing pills to tranquilize yourself. Agitated thoughts that produce high blood pressure, a nervous stomach, persistent feelings of discomfort, an inability to relax or sleep, and frequent displays of displeasure and outrage are violating your natural state. Believe it or not, you have the power to create the naturally stress-free and tranquil life you desire. You can utilize this power to attract frustration or joy, anxiety or peace. When you're in harmony with the 7 phases of intention, you can access and pull from the source of all in order to fulfill your intention of being stress-free and tranquil. So if it's natural to have feelings of well-being, why is it that we seem to experience so much unwellness and tension? The answer to this question provides you with the key that leads to the peaceful life you desire. Stress is a desire of the ego. We speak of stress as if it were present in the world as something that attacks us. We say things like, I'm having an anxiety attack, as if anxiety is a combatant. But the stress in your body is rarely the result of external forces or entities attacking you. It's the result of the weakened connecting link to intention caused by your belief that ego is who you are. You are peace and joy, but you've allowed your ego to dominate your life. The following lighthearted way to stop taking yourself so seriously is from a book by Rosamund and Benjamin Zander. He's the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, titled The Art of Possibility. It illustrates in a delightful way how we allow ego to create many of the problems we encounter that we label stress and anxiety. It's called Rule Number 6. I'll share it with you. 2 prime ministers are sitting in a room discussing affairs of state. Suddenly a man bursts in, apoplectic with fury, shouting and stamping and banging his fist on the desk. The resident prime minister admonishes him. Peter, he says, kindly remember Rule Number 6. Whereupon Peter is instantly restored to complete calm, apologizes and withdraws. The politicians return to their conversation only to be interrupted yet again 20 minutes later by an hysterical woman gesticulating wildly, her hair flying. Again, the intruder is greeted with the words, Marie, please remember Rule Number 6. Complete calm descends once more, and she, too, withdraws with a bow and an apology. When the scene is repeated for a 3rd time, the visiting prime minister addresses his colleague. My dear friend, he says, I've seen many things in my life, but never anything as remarkable as this. Would you be willing to share with me the secret of Rule Number 6? Very simply, replies the resident prime minister. Rule Number 6 is, don't take yourself so damn seriously. Ah, says his visitor, that's a fine rule. After a moment of pondering, he inquires, and what, may I ask, are the other rules? Oh, there aren't any. As you encounter stress, pressure, or anxiety in your life, remember Rule Number 6. At the moment you realize you're thinking stressful thoughts. By noticing and discontinuing the inner dialogue that causes stress, you may be able to prevent its physical symptoms. What are the inner thoughts that produce stress? I'm more important than those around me. My expectations aren't being met. I shouldn't have to wait. I'm too important. I'm the customer here, and I demand attention. No one else has these pressures. All of these above, along with a potentially endless inventory of Rule Number 6 thoughts, are from the ego's bag of tricks. You aren't your work, your accomplishments, your possessions, your home, your family, your anything. You're an aspect of the power of intention, dressed in a physical human body, intended to experience and enjoy life on earth. This is the intention that you want to bring to the presence of stress. You must become conscious of the need to activate thought responses that match your intention. These new responses will become habitual and replace your old habit of responding in stress-producing ways. When you examine segments of stress-producing incidents, you always have a choice. Do I stay with thoughts that produce stress within me, or do I work to activate thoughts that make stress impossible? Here's another easy tool that will help you to replace the habit of choosing anxiety and stress. I call them 5 magic words. Here they are. I want to feel good. I want to feel good. Your intention here is to be tranquil and stress-free. When you feel good, you're connected to your intentions, regardless of what goes on around you or what others expect you to feel. Many events will transpire in which your conditioned response is to feel bad. Be aware of these outer incidents and say the 5 magic words, I want to feel good. In that precise moment, ask yourself if feeling bad is going to make the situation any better. You'll discover that the only thing that feeling bad accomplishes in response to outer situations is to plummet you into anxiety, despair, depression, and of course, stress. Instead, ask yourself in that moment what thought you can have that will make you feel good. When you discover that it's responding with kindness and love to the bad feeling, which is quite different from wallowing around in it, you'll begin experiencing a shift in your emotional state. Now you're in vibrational harmony with your source, since the power of intention knows only peace, kindness, and love. I assure you that your decision to feel good is a way of connecting to spirit. It isn't an indifferent response to events. By feeling good, you become an instrument of peace, and it's through this channel that you eradicate problems. By feeling bad, you stay in the energy field that creates resistance to positive change and experience a stressful, anxious state as a byproduct. The things you call problems will perpetually present themselves to you. They'll never go away. Resolve one, and another one will surface. You'll never get it done. I urge you to simply accept the fact that you'll never get it all done and begin to live more fully in the only moment that you have, which is now. The secret to removing the harmful effects of feeling stressed and under pressure is to be in the now. Announce out loud to yourself and all who are willing to listen to you, I'm an incomplete being. I'll always be incomplete because I can never get it done. Therefore, I choose to feel good while I'm in the moment, attracting into my life the manifestations of my desires. I am complete in my incompleteness. All resistance melts away when you can feel complete in your incompleteness.